In the Approachables, I play bass guitar, and my name is Ben Van Dyke. And I sang a little bit of backups, maybe a couple words.
My name is Phil, and I played keyboard and sang some vocals, wrote some songs.
I just would drum and provide a slightly wobbly beat to everything. And I don't know, just writing songs like most of the other dudes. And
my name's Adrian Boss, and I was the guitarist and I guess sometimes vocalist, rhythm guitarist and sometimes vocalist, sometimes lead vocalist for the Approachables.
I'm Marco, and I played guitar and keyboards and sang a lot of backups.
My name is Jason Stone. My role in the Approachables was playing the guitar. I was a lead guitarist, and I also smacked some tambourines and played a harmonica every once in a while.
I'm partially responsible for bringing the Approachables together. I'd like to take credit for at least a little bit of that. Basically, my earliest memory of meeting anyone from the Approachables would be when I met Adrian. And I met him on the first day of Frosh Week at the University of Waterloo. And we were in the same, I don't know, they put the kids together in groups so that they meet people on the first day and they have someone to hang out with for the next week while they're acclimatizing to the university experience. And he was in my group. So I met him because when I went in, they made you introduce yourself. And I said, my name is Ben. And then they said, tell us one thing about you. And I said, and my favorite band is Eric's Trip. And then Adrian came in late, as usual, about 10 minutes later, and he was wearing an Eric's Trip shirt. And so they were all like, whoa! And they made him sit next to me. And so that's how we met, and we started talking music right away, and we hit it off pretty well. And then about an hour later, same day, same Frosh kind of event, we met the other teams that were also from the general arts section of the university. And there was another kid who was looking like he was trying to enjoy himself but was not succeeding. And so I reached over and I was like, hey, my name's Ben, how's it going? Because I was of the mindset that this is to meet people, so I'm going to try and meet people. And that turned out to be Dave Fox. And so from there, I brought myself and Adrian to Dave, and then Dave brought Jason and Marco, and we eventually met Phil, I guess, a year later as well.
I remember coming up from, I used to work at my mom's store, the Treasure Quest, and I remember driving up Saturday nights in the dark in the winter on the icy roads to come to these jam practices in the dungeon of downtown Kitchener.
dating back to 2000, I think it was, maybe. I don't think went any further back. But I remember playing at the SLC was our first show, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the way the recording sounded and such.
I think the way I remember it was I was in a band called Guard with Dave and Ben and David Eby, and that band sort of, for whatever reason, started to fall apart, and we started jamming, and I think Dave and Ben might have been in another band with Phil called Moncherie at that time, and so I think maybe, I don't know exactly why everyone started playing together, but there was definitely this absence for me from Guard, so I wanted to get something going. My first real memories, I guess, are just random memories of playing in living rooms.
Jason brought over his crazy, fangled, actually good guitar as opposed to the crappy acoustic I had, and that day I think we decided to be rock and roll stars or something, and we went into the basement and pressed record on a ghetto blaster and wrote 3 songs in an hour. I think that's when it dawned on at least the 3 of us that music was fun.
Well, I guess Marco and Dave would be the first people I knew. We started playing music with each other, calling ourselves Little Girl, and starting to write songs with each other that way. I remember at Dave, our drummer's parents' house, they had a couple beat-up guitars they got from garage sales and things that I managed to tune and jam away on. But of course, jamming with all the members of the Approachables, I think, quickly followed thereafter.
Blue skies are coming, blue skies. People dying, dying to me. There are some people dying, trying to be. The clouds being busy, open the show, put on the jacket and rake the leaves. Sit on the rooftop, sit on the rooftop and count sheep.
I mean, we never, as the Approachables, we never had a clear idea of what we were doing while we were doing it, which is part of rock and roll, sort of, in terms of authentic rock and roll, or, you know, why kids start doing rock and roll. Is basically, we got together to play some music and write some songs, and, I mean, that's what we were doing. We weren't really thinking about making any money, and we were definitely losing money. We're not losing it, but spending it. And I mean, each of us were probably there for slightly different reasons, but I think the main one was to like make some songs and play some loud music. And
I don't know. Mostly it was just, I don't know, being part of a group, making something cool, I guess.
Kind of like just in the business of like being like lazy and, you know, but at the same time coming up with really cool songs and then playing, but you know, no one's really the focal point, so an audience or something would have nothing to latch on to as far as like, unless they latch on to the entire thing.
The Approachables for me were probably about something to do on a Saturday night combined with, I mean, I really wanted to be a musician, I think. There was probably a lot of my identity tied up with that band because there wasn't much going on other than the band because I spent so much time focusing on the band and spending time with the other 5 Approachables, so it meant a lot actually for those 3 or 4 years. In the back of my mind I thought too, at some point this might become a career, so there was that hope. I don't know if I ever let myself dwell on that too much. I mean, I put a lot of effort into the band. I certainly didn't treat it like it was just a pastime or something, but I don't know how much I tried not to think too hard about whether we'd make it or not, because I really didn't think the stuff, what I heard ourselves playing, I never really thought that it would catch on. Like, it just seemed to be for us.
I think it probably shifted over time. I think in the beginning probably we're all just on an adrenaline rush for quite some time. It was just fun. It was fun to get together and be understood musically and you know, be in a room full of people that were generally cooperative in making something cool happen or making something work together in terms of sounds and that sort of thing. I think maybe halfway through we got a little bit more serious, and that probably corresponds with the time where we ended up picking a name and that sort of thing. Maybe I probably can't speak for other people, but I know that for me anyway, aside from like enjoying the process generally, I think that I always had a bit of like latent desire to be a bit of a public figure or something like that, or at least have like the group be a bit of a public figure or something like that. Even if it was just in the area, I would have felt really happy if we could have made some ground in terms of being known.
I never wanted to be in a band if it wasn't going to be fun. I never wanted to put that much effort into it. I mean, financially, being in a band, in an early band, is just a money hole. You keep pouring stuff into it, upgrading your equipment, and on and on and on. So it was always about fun. Being creative and having an excuse to, hang out with your friends in a different environment, that was always what was really important to me. I think it still is about that for me now, because I was never really concerned with any kind of success. I never cared necessarily if we played in front of people or not. That was never my big thing. I just like to work and refine and play that way and be creative and just have it. And the more of it that you have was always a big thing with me. I like, the song creation process, like coming up with a new bit or coming up with a riff or practicing a solo or beat, whatever it be. The ultimate performance was never that important unless that was going to be fun too, and it definitely was in a lot of cases. The Approachables actually, as a name, came from a line of an older song. But I remember there being a vote for names, and that was just sort of the one people were indifferent enough about to agree on.
It was a long, arduous process. My memory, I think we did it through email.
I think Dave came up with the name.
I remember the Approachables was, I think, Dave's suggestion.
Yeah, it was my name. To me, it was just like funny because it reflected us being antisocial and having a name that implied that we were social or nice. I'm trying to remember some of the other names. I can just, off the top of my head, I can only remember like Semaphore.
Although I really liked the Well Wild Hearts.
Talking with Dave about it recently, so I remember Semaphore now.
Sort of inside jokes about like one person might have had, and I don't know. I can't think of anything else other than Sasquatch, the Bigfoot.
But there were very few songs that I could say they were about something on the surface. We wrote collaboratively. I'm sure we all pitched lines that would seem completely random to the rest of the band, but to the person who submitted or pitched the line, probably had a lot of meaning. So it ended up being this song about you know, that each person could walk away thinking something completely different about it. Some of them were just absurd for the sake of being absurd, like Snowy Bo Bips, or writing songs about, you know, we did like the Paul McCartney thing, writing a song about an absurd sort of character, right?
Definitely didn't have a message. I mean, like a lot of what we ended up writing about were just bizarre character sketches. We had a song about like an elderly lady falling in love or something. It was Silver Velocity. There was Apple Betty about like some wandering farm girl with a locust cloak, and we had Le Shark, which was about a rich bastard guy that was like running around trying to get girls in his SUV.
I always thought the characters in these songs were the Approachables, and the band was just performing their, you know, kind of stories.
The funny thing is, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of it wasn't intentional, and I've always found it interesting that like the six of us could collaborate on a lot of those, and each like provide segments of those songs, and still like in the end they managed to be coherent in some way.
Well, definitely, I think humor was a huge part. I mean, the lyrics were always sort of poetic in a sense that they didn't really have a literal meaning always. I know Dave's sense of humor often came into play in his lyrics. Like one of the later songs was about having a spider wrap its fingers around, I think the lyric is the chest, but it started out as wrap your fingers, like a spider wrapping its fingers around my cock or something. And that was sort of funny in that Dave would have to make Adrian sing that. So there's always, a definite, like, the audience is always against you. I mean, it's your goal to win them over, and if you can win them over doing something that they shouldn't be, you know, applauding, then that was always pretty funny and cool.
I mean, we used to get Bare Naked Ladies a lot. People would say that we sounded like the Bare Naked Ladies. And I think that was just because they didn't know. That's the only band they could think of that was maybe used humor. I mean, there are definitely other ones out there, but I think that's one of the biggest bands that you've got. Like, who else? Bloodhound Gang, or like, there are very few bands out there at the time that would be considered funny bands. But I think we used it in like a radically different way. I mean, I always was sort of offended because obviously I didn't really like them that much, but offended in that, I mean, I thought the songs might have been funny, but they were oftentimes just, they weren't out in that, there were no punchlines. I don't think there were ever any punchlines, and if they were funny, I mean, it was only because there was some really inventive wordplay. I mean, even I think it reflected the music itself. Like, there were so many odd and weird changes going on, and the lyrics, I think, are great. They're awesome. Like, I think they're funny, but they're often funny, and the humor is just masking something, some sort of angst. Like, I always thought the lyrics were pretty angsty, and that they were always hinting at something, but never quite saying it. And I always thought they were really evocative. So there's a lot going on there, and if you can look past the fact that maybe you've never heard words put together in that way, if you really think about it, I think there's a lot there. It was great to go and play with the Approachables and write this absurd, happy stuff, and it was sort of a mood regulator in a way. Like, and so there was no desire, I think, on anybody's part, although I'm sure I'm just thinking about myself here, but I don't remember there being a desire to write depressing songs, or to write about love lost, or about maybe real things that were actually happening, because it was sort of an escape. That's my memory of it anyways.
The song's called 5U.
Dig us. Okay. All right. Dig us in 5 minutes. Aiden's gonna tune. It's
And now, from the deepest unknowns of Kitchener's sewer system, ladies and gentlemen, the Approachables, featuring Marco Pedrosa, Dave, the internet. Adrian Moss. Ben Van Dyke. Jason Stone. And me, the inventor of the internet.
All right, that's our next. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dig us! Damnation!
We'd like to thank the James's Party for celebrating Ants 52.
Shit, yeah!
Us here tonight. Thank you very much. Oh, hard to do. Oh, shit. Better. Well, she's so nasty.
I used to work here, I used to live in this way. I used to roll it around, sitting through by myself. I really wish I could go and now look after you. These heavy dreams are getting up on me. Let's talk about some good streets. 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 That purple beat kiss in the year 2016. Jumped on the counter, grabbed myself a treat. I found a megaphone under a fake stone. Now I can talk to the girls in a poppin' 15. And all we talk about is good streets. We talk about some good streets. Let's 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 talk about some good streets.
Thank you.
It's tough fitting 6 people on this stage. This song was written in university. I finished my last exam. I went home for the holiday. Lights in the house were on as I pulled into the driveway. Snowflakes in the air, cold wind freezing my chili. Bill and Bob left the door unlocked and I walked right in. I didn't see none of them coming as I reached up and flipped on the light switch. Surprise, surprise, a party for me. I can't take this goddamn season. It can happen to you. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to you. Oh yeah, it's the last thing that I want. You gotta let me explain. I didn't think she'd be there with the little truck cinnamon guy. Out the corner of my eye, the shade shooting straight down the stairs. Before I know it, it was
4. Thank you.
We started off with a pretty good jam space in Dave's parents' basement, for which I assume we have a great debt to his parents still to this day, because we used to play at 11 volume-wise and late at night while they were sleeping. And basically, I mean, we played there for quite a while until eventually, I guess, we got kind of kicked out of there with, you know, for obvious reasons and due to our own fault rather than, you know, Dave's parents not being very gentle people or anything like that. And so we went to, I guess in Kitchener we had our first jam space, and it was in the basement below a bookstore and a bunch of other stuff. And it was in the basement itself was basically a rough neighborhood full of punks.
The first one was really sketchy. In a dungeon with people doing questionable things in the room to the right as you walked in. Looked like they were all big men sitting around a table with like needles or something.
The one underneath the second look was extremely shady.
And that one was a bit of a dive.
If you can imagine, you know, some kind of strange, wet, dripping dungeon of some kind, that would kind of be like what this was. I think our jam space was right by the toilet, and it was small, and it was stinky, and...
It's a very small room that heated up really fast. And then we moved to a slightly bigger room, and, you know, a lot of stuff happened there. We would have great jams where, you know, we let stuff happen. So if someone came by and they started rapping into our mics while we were playing, we just, like, went with it.
The booyah, that's what I call it. It's like the like hour and a half of them, like, we jammed and then they would rap, and then at one point they, like, I think they, like, played on my drums, and they might have cracked a cymbal maybe, or broke sticks or something, and, you know, they were just, like, kind of really rowdy, and, you know, it's almost like, I remember we were cool with them, like, we were cool with that whole experience, and I actually thought it was really fun, and, like, it did something for me, but then, like, it's one of those things where if you're dealing with people that are, like, slightly mentally disturbed, they, like, you know, anything, like, possibly positive is, you know, not going to be, like, there. It's like there might be, like, a spark of, like, hey, this is kind of fun, and then, like, you know, things will get out of hand. So that's the way they like them, you know.
The people there weren't very live and let live, and so stuff would happen, like they would try and lock us into our studio while we were playing once.
I didn't love that they wrote fags on our door, but I changed it to the Beegs. I tried to propose it as a band name for our vote, but it was a no-go.
And then, you know, the inevitable, like, getting our shit robbed at some point after we befriended our, like, you know, our hip-hop brothers that across the hall, you know.
Well, I showed up late for band practice. I remember Adrian coming, he met me at the door and he was like, bad news, dude. He's like, we got robbed, or...
All the spaces were rented, and I don't think they're rented for music. I think they're rented so people could have a place to shoot heroin with their eyeballs and stuff in Kitchener without getting caught. But yeah, it was broken into by kind of the same people. We had good jams there, but as a location it sucked. I mean, the security was crap, and I mean, if you lock your door, someone could just push through the drywall and take whatever they wanted to if they wanted to. Fortunately, Adrian's amplifier was chained actually to a pipe in that one space.
It was my it was bundled up. The cord was wrapped under the handle, and it was between where I left it at the back end of the room and the door. So I don't know whether they were on the way out and they thought they heard us and they dropped it and just ran away with the bag. But that was such a relief. Like, I remember being completely elated that they hadn't stolen it, because I think it would have crippled the band. I don't know. None of us had much cash at that time, and that was, you know, it was definitely a period of time where if somebody had lost an amp, I mean, that would have been it. If Ben had lost his bass or his amp, there would be no more bass. So
calling the police, that whole, like, debacle of, like, you know, who fucking cares? You know, like, the police don't care. You know, you're not gonna get your stuff back. Like,
luckily, the more expensive stuff had either been chained down or wasn't actually worth that much to anyone else. So we soldiered on, and then finally we went to, I think, the box factory. I'm not sure.
That was awesome, actually. that was a space where people there were kind of more dedicated to playing music. There's always music going on. Had great security. We had a really, really big space. A huge room for 6 of us. There was a couch. People would, be crashing the couch there.
Musicians that actually probably had some prospects were there, and like the Miniatures and these other bands that played Nickelback and whoever, like probably a pretty solid Nickelback cover band. And
I think at that point we sort of realized that was more the careerist jam space. So,
and that was probably that was a good jam space where we put pictures up on the wall and hung lights from the ceiling and spent a lot of time, like 2 nights a week maybe. And that's when we were honing our song craft and working on playing the songs too.
That was probably where we made the most like progress musically, as far as like getting songs to be like polished up and stuff.
But the odd thing was we didn't connect at all with any of the bands in that space. I don't remember ever connecting with anyone.
I do remember, like, speaking of like maybe the music scene or bands that were in the area, this only really happened once, other than like bands that were touring through the area. But once we went to an open mic night and we saw this band called Firebush, and we were so excited. The guy was kind of like a Iggy Pop or Lou Reed, the frontman, and we were like, "Oh, Firebush is amazing!" And we were so excited about meeting them. But of course, we were somewhat antisocial, or maybe not very forward, I guess. And we never met the guy from Firebush or the band, or ever saw them again. So maybe they were like a one-off show, or maybe they stopped going to university, but for like a year or two, Adrian and I would talk about Firebush and how cool it would have been to meet them, and some musical compatriots or like similar sensibilities out there.
Definitely the number one favorite moment, I think, on stage would probably be when Adrian said he was going to puke. Or the Approachables, I think I'm going to puke. That was pretty cool.
We were trying to figure out some stage gimmick, showmanship kind of thing, where we would introduce each other and we would do shots and while we were introducing each other. So Adrian was the MC, I guess, in the situation, and he was supposed to be like, "This is Ben on bass and he's doing a shot of rum," and then I would do my shot, and then he did that for everyone. He did Dave. Phil actually did a shot of water, I think. So Phil's trying to maintain some level of decorum and professional musicianship. And then when it came to Adrian's turn, I guess Adrian wasn't really of that mindset, the same as Phil. He was more, have a few beers before the show. And then he did his shot. He's like, "My name is Adrian, I'm going to do a shot of whiskey." And he did a shot of whiskey. And then the next thing he said into the mic was, "I think I'm going to puke on stage." And then I don't know if the audience really heard him because there was no reaction.
Drinking shots on stage and almost puking.
I think the circus room was probably my favorite venue just because we did it so often. It was pretty comfortable. We kind of always just piled our equipment into the same locations and went at it. And the one I really enjoyed the most as far as a performance would be, I think, our 3-hour epic performance where there were no other bands on the set and we were required to fill an entire evening of music. So we played absolutely anything we could think of, stuff we had just come up with the night before. Like 3 solid hours of performing music and getting progressively drunker as the night wore on. So that was probably my ultimate favorite.
Thanks to those who stuck around. Jason drank a shot of vodka before we came on. Marco has a shot of Dr. A. Phil's gonna drink a shot of water. Dave's gonna drink a shot of beer. I'm gonna drink some whiskey. Drink liquid cocaine.
I've learned that through different like avenues I've been down, you know, as far as like art and stuff goes. Like someone could be like, that's a piece of shit about something, and then the next person's like, oh my darling dear, my stars, I must have that in my living room. And it's just like, what, this piece of fucking garbage, you know? Like, okay, it's like, so who knows, right? It's like, you'd be like, take some like really 100-year-old lady and be like, make her listen to like, you know, Sex Demon and think she's gonna like, you know, like scream and have a heart attack, but she's like, oh, I like this. It's like, don't know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
People just defy your expectations at every turn.
fucking take just to turn and keep on walking away. Right over together, over sand dreams and quietly crawling. But what doesn't want to stay? The rain came down drizzling, keep low, and she came down like fire from keep low. The rain came down drizzling, keep low, and she came down like fire.
Thank you.
We also played a show one winter's eve where it was snowing like crazy in Stratford, in town. I think it was Stratford. Yeah, in Stratford, at this huge bar with Color of Each. That show was, I mean, the bar was crazy. There was lots of people there for Color of Each.
We got that show because of an old coworker of mine was in another band called Color of Each.
Mm-hmm.
And we had stayed in contact, and told him that I was playing, and he was like, well, why don't you open for us at our big, like, homecoming? And it might have been one of the most heavily attended shows we ever played, although nobody was there for us.
I just remember like stirring of like, you know, like kind of a collective like, what is this kind of reaction? And then we'd play, and it was kind of like, okay, you know, like, let's make way for a band that actually like really knows what rock and roll is all about, you know. Enter, you know, Creed.
They're just the wrong mix of genres, probably. But the story was that we went out to some Indian restaurant in Stratford,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a good dinner there. But then we left, and we were setting up our stuff, and then Adrian realized that his gear bag was missing, and lo and behold, he left it in the Indian restaurant.
I forgot a bag of Phil's keyboard bag, and so that was a big trauma. That's coming back to me now. It was a big trauma because we were going to put on this show, and I'd forgotten Phil's keyboard bag, and somebody went back to get it, I believe, and Stratford is an hour and a half, or not an hour from Kitchener, and then we forgot the bag in a restaurant before the show started.
And by then it was like 9 or 10 o'clock or something, and the place was closed.
Yeah.
And we were freaking out because like he didn't have any of his pedals or patch cords, and I think somebody's like power connector was like in there, so like we might have been without a keyboard too or something.
Yeah.
And so we ran around for like maybe 40 minutes trying to find out if there was any way we could get into that place again, and
Mm-hmm.
we were pretty much resigned to be like, we can't play this show now.
Yeah.
And magically one of the Stratfordians
Mm-hmm.
made some calls, and they knew the owner, and they went and opened it up and got her bag, and we can play it.
Well, I just remember I thought we played pretty well that night. There was maybe 10 people that were like into us. The rest were just drinking and waiting for Color of Each. But I mean, that was pretty memorable just because it was a large show at an actual bar and outside of Waterloo.
We'll
at the Reverb.
Yeah, we did play at the Reverb. I totally forgot about that. And again, that was sort of a weird. We got these shows oftentimes not as a result of us promoting ourselves or looking for a gig, but sometimes they were just friends of a friend happened to be doing something. This was a coworker of mine, somebody I worked with in Toronto was in a band that would play at the Reverb. So we got a show opening for them. We thought it was opening, but it ended up being, if I remember correctly, we ended up closing the show because it was a weeknight, and nobody really wanted to close the show. So we, as the band with the fewest fans, I think we had maybe 3 people there to see us, we closed the show.
That was, maybe not one of the best shows ever, just because I know I didn't have a great time, I don't think, because everyone left and I didn't like the other bands either. So, yeah, it was a bit disappointing, I guess. And the sound guy was a dick, too.
The sound guy, he gave me heck for the way I was winding my chords, because he thought that they were his chords, and then when he realized they were my chords, he didn't care, but he showed me how to wind them because I asked him.
Yeah, he was my sound guy, but I mean, I guess it can go to your head.
It feels bad when you're playing with bands that like you've never heard, and then you hear them and you hate them, and then you have to play after them, and their fans they're not pushing for you. It's like people are there to push them, and we're there as just kind of like an anomaly, and then we play, and it's like we probably didn't like. There probably wasn't one person there that like really gave a shit that we were playing.
So yeah, we played the Reverb, which was big at the time. I mean, I remember carting our equipment through the streets of Toronto into the club, and that was really exciting.
Anytime you hear like a woo,
Yeah.
that's probably great. Yeah. Well, he did our website and stuff, so
Yeah.
he put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
in different ways into what we were doing, and that was really cool.
Thanks for coming for the Approachables.
Approachables fans are probably our family.
Girlfriends and parents.
Friends and family, I think.
Well, I can imagine who I would think would be our fans. Well, people that just like listen to like indie music and quirky rock, and that's about it.
I can't think of anyone who heard our music outside of knowing us and flat fell in love with us. But we never had a groupie, as far as I can tell. If we did, whoever knew that groupie didn't introduce that groupie to me. Like sessions of doing cocaine off of any naked girls' bodies or anything like that. So none of the good stuff, you know what I mean?
There were a few people out there who really made things happen. It was really nice to have people who actually wanted to get the shows and who had positive feedback, and they had good taste in music as far as I was concerned. So it meant something to have those people like our music.
No, actually, there were some other friends who came. I would play stuff for a guy who I used to work with, Jesse, who's a really great jazz drummer from Guelph. He came to a show once or twice, and I mean, there were people who appreciated us, but mostly I would say you were friends and parents. We never made a real big effort to sell merchandise, but that's also because we didn't really have, we made merchandise, but because it was fun to make, but we weren't ever going to make $1 million in the way we handled business, I guess.
So yeah, obligated fans were our fans. Although if they didn't like it, they didn't have to like it. So I mean, they did obviously like it. I mean, maybe they're just being nice. I don't know.
I can feel the sugar rushing through my
we came into being in a weird time in Kitchener's musical landscape, because I think when I first came to school here, I can't remember when that would have been, sometime in the 90s, late 90s, I think. There were quite a few clubs, and it was like a thriving music scene. I remember going with you and Dave and Ben to a club in the basement. It was on King Street. What was it called?
The Volcano.
The Volcano. That's right. I remember going there quite a few times. Miss Robinson's, and there were always these other clubs that I knew about that had shows, and we never went to. Like Moondog Cafe was one of them, and there were a few different cafes and bars in town, and it was really exciting first coming here, having a lot of shows and going to as much as I could. By the time we started playing, they had all closed, so there was really nowhere to play. There was the Circus Room, the Bomber, and a few other places. So I think just the environment wasn't very fertile to begin with.
As far as independent bands and like where we were, I think your best shot at any kind of success would have been to get into that North by North, whatever it was, in Toronto.
Yeah.
Playing around Kitchener didn't really seem to get anyone very far that I ever saw or could tell. Wow, the Approachables did everything I can think of logically as a promotion. And I still have copies of a lot of this stuff, but we interviewed for the Waterloo school paper, the imprint. I think we had 2 interviews, 2 big articles in that. We called up papers like the Kitchener-Waterloo Record whenever we were having a show, and they actually, I don't know if they reviewed a show or just mentioned that we'd be playing a show, but we definitely had
a feature on this or something.
Yeah, they did. They had something about us for sure, because I remember giving a copy of the record to like my parents and things like that, just saying, "Hey, I'm actually in a paper." So, I mean, there's that. I mean, the radio station, the Waterloo radio station for the school played our CD like I think 6 radio shows out of 10 people. I mean, not just to fill game content, but people that are honestly like this. So everyone but myself in the band had some kind of arts training in school or whatnot. So we made our own posters, like generate our own artwork, and that was photography or drawing it or whatever it might be, and plastered posters everywhere we could. We gave CDs upon CDs away to every bar and every sort of place that you could probably imagine yourself playing as a band. We gave those away, and then of course, I mean, anyone who wanted a CD or anything, friends, family, sure, why not? We just gave those away. And then we also had shirts. We made shirts. There was the main design was just the name, the Approachables, on all kinds of shirts. Then we had the kissing people on the shirt. There's even like a Snowy Bo Bip shirt and a crazy demon cat shirt. I remember. I forget what that was for, but like we silk screened our own shirts and tried to sell those. We tried to sell everything, give them away if we had to. But I think our name, like, we were flooding it in Kitchener as much as we could, but I mean, the results you would never be able to tell other than, like I say, the Circus Room. Oh yeah, we remember that name.
I mean, I think that, especially in Canada and KW and that kind of thing, there's so many things working against, like, artistic success in almost any, like, field.
Like what?
Field of art. Just, like, TV culture and things like that, and just...
Working against,
like, someone from this area,
mm-hmm.
or, like, any random place in Canada, meeting with much success, except for a couple of, like, cultural meccas, like places in Montreal, where I think the cultural climate is actually really different.
Mm-hmm.
And certain places in Toronto, definitely there's more of, like, a community and an audience, and maybe that's what I'm getting at. It's like, in Kitchener and KW in this area, I think that the audience for the kind of thing that we were doing is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Maybe in a different place, it would be a different story. But right here, I mean, like, basically like an industrial Tri-City bedroom community
Yeah.
type thing, where, like, the kids go out and do stuff sometimes. I mean, realistically, what do the adults do? They go to work and they come home and they're exhausted.
There's just no buzz about anything. No one really was excited about hearing music, that it seemed. And if you were, you knew where to go, but you're only, 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
And then if I look at it, like, logically too, I mean, there's a few people in Cambridge that I we went to school with. Like Dan Allen comes to mind. He was in a couple bands, and I mean, one band doesn't work out, you kind of form another one and hope that takes off. But I mean, half of everyone I know is in at least more than one kind of from that location. So, but yeah, there's just no buzz.
There's lots of good bands around here, I think. Like, I really have an identification with the Cambridge scene, maybe just because I semi-know those people, like the people from around there, so...
And, I read, what was it, recently? Something about outsider music, which I'd never heard of before, but reading an article about that, it kind of struck home to me a little bit that we'd probably fit into that category of people that are, like, maybe naive and doing stuff off on their own, and sometimes really genuinely creative and, like, doing really fascinating stuff, but it's, like, it's way below the radar. It's not even on the radar, you know. It's just,
yeah, people doing things for their own reasons and not caring what happens to it or something.
Yeah.
And somehow someone gets a hold of it.
Yeah. I think if you create something that can be discovered, at least, you know, there's a chance that something will be discovered as opposed to having nothing that's discoverable.
Even a rockumentary / retrospective about a band that didn't necessarily even make it anywhere. How does that strike you?
It strikes me as funny.
So it's kind of like a bit of a comedy hour in a way.
Well, I guess it would be... I think that the whole thing is an interesting idea, at least insofar as, hopefully, at some point, maybe this would get into the hands of people whose taste kind of aligned with ours, and if that did something for them, I would be pretty happy.
But I do remember when we stopped playing together, we had this huge, like we had, I mean, hundreds of songs as far as that was concerned. Though, if you consider the songs, all the songs that we had heard people submit, so I mean, you might have played a song once, and I might have played a song once, and if you consider all those songs, we documented all those one-timers, I believe. So we had hundreds of songs, and we recorded. Unfortunately, we didn't record high-quality stuff, but we had a lot of recordings of most of our jams and most of our songs. So when we ended, we had definitely over 100 songs, maybe 200 songs recorded, and 100 of them were good. So that's a pretty good equation.
That's just like the saddest part, I suppose. Just all these songs are out there, and they only exist on like fragile hard drives of a few of us.
But I remember leafing through all those songs and compiling a CD and thinking there was so much more that I couldn't include, but it was a big. That was a big realization. I guess when it ended, the big realization was, wow, we had a huge body of work, and it was, a lot of it was really good. So, I guess that's it.
Got the big day on the back of my mind. So said it's just a waste of my time. Oh, I know there are some things you can do without. It's been 12 months since I got this disease. Now I'd rather be dead, sing with 3,000 blues. Oh, I can promise you a thing. We say one thing, mean another. Oh, we mean to say it. We're sorry, we're sorry. Say one thing, mean another. Oh, we mean to say it. We're sorry, we're sorry.
I think as a band, we never utilize cats for their inherent musical ability. I think cats are an untapped resources, and personally, that's where my music is headed now. I'm using cats in interesting musical ways. So you can look forward to hearing my musical stylings. Guitars and cats, really. I think it's the way of the future.